injury attorneys at The Advocates can't actually prevent you from being in a cycling accident, they will be by your side to support you following your accident. Our legal services won't cost you a dime out of pocket. So when you need an injury attorney, call us. We're The Advocates, your Utah personal injury attorneys. You didn't deserve to be in an accident, but you do deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on your YouTube machine. As always, we are presented by The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com. That didn't move you emotionally, Jake? TheAdvocates.com, where you never pay out of pocket for the best injury attorneys to fight for what you deserve. That's right, when you've been hit by a semi-truck, when you are injured at work, when you've been bitten by your neighbor's dog. You didn't deserve that, but you do deserve somebody to be your advocate, to fight for you so that you can get back to being the best version of yourself. And I always say this, anytime you're in an accident, anytime you're dealing with your insurance company and they're like, oh yeah, Monty, trust me, bro.
Hey, Monty?
Yeah, let me ask The Advocates, where you never pay out of pocket. There are no consultation fees. There are no retainers. What do you have to lose? Absolutely nothing. Chat with an injury attorney live online for free at theadvocates.com. 24/7, 365. We are underway at the PGA Championship at Valhalla in Louisville. Where Tiger Woods, El Tigre, is about to step up to the box and whack them balls. Yeah. Tiger's about to tee off at Valhalla. We'll keep you up to date on that as the morning goes on, as really one of the most important and significant majors of the year gets underway. Rory McIlroy in about 10 minutes. Very interesting comments from Roars yesterday about his divorce. Oh, wait. The PGA media director read a statement before Rory took questions. And the PGA media director said Rory is not going to be talking about his personal life. So don't ask. And they didn't ask. Okay, cool. Currently, Luke Donald is 1 under after 1 hole, so we are underway. Ludwig Oberg.
Yeah.
I wish I could swing like Oberg. Ludwig Aberg is underway now as well, so the big names are coming all over the course. You got to get stroked in this tournament.
You got to get stroked.
Thank you.
Let's start stroking guys.
The Live Golf guys are in this tournament. Brooks is here, thankfully. That's my guy.
You got to get stroked.
Bryson DeChambeau swings as hard as he can is here. So a lot of the Live guys are in this field. So again, Valhalla, we're underway at the PGA Championship. I think the biggest news of the morning by far, did the ACC conference die yesterday? And I know that some will tell me, Monty, that's just some clickbait ass material.
Yeah, you
there,
guys
boy.
are clickbaiters.
I don't actually think it is. It was very interesting yesterday, not who was at the ACC meetings, but who was not. Bubba Cunningham, athletic director at North Carolina, was not at the ACC meetings yesterday. And I think it is a very significant moment in time, because Bubba is not only one of the most respected administrators in the ACC, Bubba Cunningham is also one of the most influential. Nothing in this conference happens without Bubba Cunningham. And it was of note that Bubba went back to Chapel Hill to what most people believe is kind of calm the waters after one of the regents at North Carolina talked about how it was time to leave the ACC. This is going to be a very interesting, a very interesting process, moment in time, however you want to describe what's going on in the ACC conference. But there is no doubt that what we are seeing now, I think, is the beginning and the end of the ACC. And I don't know how you would call it anything else. When you look at the fact, as Brett McMurphy from the Action Network pointed out on Twitter yesterday, it was 1 year ago that the Magnificent Seven got together and tried to break the grant of rights. They could not do it. By some accounts, you need a majority, which at the time would have been 8, which now is believed to be 10 universities in the ACC to break that grant of rights. But if you read the tea leaves here, I think we are as close to 10 universities walking out the door as we have ever been in the ACC. Now, does that mean a whole lot? Yes and no. How many of these universities are willing to pay what is probably going to be $500 million to walk away from this conference? Well, I assume that of those 10, meaning Florida State, Clemson, Virginia Tech, I would have to believe Duke, Carolina, and NC State to get to 7, Miami to get to 8, Louisville to get to 9, and then you know who I'm going to say is the 10th. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish would be the 10th university that would have to climb on board to break this grant of rights. And I think those are the only 10 that you could even talk about breaking this grant of rights. But I think, Jake, it's very interesting that we're in a position where North Carolina, again, as we have talked about, seems to be the tipping point in a very controversial and very significant moment in time for the ACC.
Well, absolutely. And I think anytime in college athletics, you have the blue blood, the heavy hitter stepping into the conversation, that's obviously going to shift the pendulum, if you will. And I think that last year when the Magnificent Seven got together, you didn't have UNC and Duke. You didn't have, Notre Dame, certainly. You didn't have these bigger, voices in the room backing you. And I think, now obviously that dynamic has changed. And last year when we talked about this, we told you when UNC, Duke, and Notre Dame get involved, you will know that this thing is serious. And that's where I think, we've seen that shift. Now that UNC is participating, this situation for the ACC is real. And everyone wants to say, oh, well, why wouldn't the ACC just settle? Just settle and figure it out and let's go about our business, because it doesn't behoove the ACC to settle. So what would a settlement even look like for the ACC? Let's say the ACC was like, yeah, Clemson and Florida State, y'all can go to the Big Ten and the SEC, or basically you can just leave, you can leave this grant of rights and we'll pick up the pieces. You just have to pay whatever that, smaller exit fee would be. Let's call it $300 million instead of $500 million, whatever the number would be. There's no joy, as we say, in doing that for the ACC. It puts them in an incredibly weak position, because once FSU and Clemson are out, the rest. We've seen this story before. Everybody else is going too. So that's the hard part, where I think people want to say, oh, well, let's just settle and why do they not just smooth this out and give them what they want? Because if they give them what they want, the conference isn't going to exist anymore, which obviously is not an option for leadership in the ACC.
Well, I also very much agree with you. What is the upside for the ACC? What's the impetus? What's the reason, the motivation for them in the conference leadership to settle with Florida State and Clemson? It's not survival. The conference does not survive, in my opinion, without really at its current level, without Florida State and Clemson. I think if you lose Florida State and Clemson and you settle with them and they leave the conference, you're going to lose Carolina and Duke, and then the whole house of cards falls down. I don't believe there is any reason for the ACC to settle. The other part of this that I think people forget is, with the grant of rights, it is a document written in a very specific manner to make this almost an impossibility. And I love that people continue to say, well, Monty, they're going to sue and get out of it. They've been trying for a decade.
Yeah.
How many years have we been talking about Florida? At least 5 that, hey, or we want out, or we got to change, or Florida State specifically was like, well, unless the revenue sharing model changes, we're out. Well, they changed the revenue sharing model.
And you still want to get out.
And you still want out because you got to remember that the ACC made significant changes to the way revenue is distributed. And again, take your victory lap. You know, you got to get stroked when you're right. And Jake is right.
You got to get stroked.
The ACC now is all about winning on the fields and the courts.
Well, and they call it, you know, the ACC, the verbiage around it, they call it a success initiative, basically saying, hey, you know, depending on how far you get, this is how much we're going to pay. And they're using the CFP revenue, and they're basically saying, hey, like typically in the old setup, the conference would get college football playoff monies, as they're called, and they would evenly distribute those across every school in the conference. And the ACC is saying, hey, we're not doing that anymore, because we need to figure out how to pay these schools who are more successful than the bottom feeders in the ACC more money. So you're seeing here, hey, if you finish in the top 25, you're going to get more money. If you qualify for a bowl game, you're going to get more money. If you participate and you advance in the college football playoff, you're going to get more money, up to, I think, what did it say? 25 million is the most a school can make.
And notice, it's all football. There is less incentivizing to do well in basketball. And again, this goes back to all of the arguments we had about the ACC versus the Big 12. And there's a reason that the Big 12 is the most valuable basketball conference in the country, because they win games, they make money, they have shares, they drive revenue through basketball on a commercial level. The ACC is only valuing distribution based on your performance in football. And they're using basketball money to fund part of that, which I think if you're the ACC, you had to do.
Right.
But I don't see an easy way out of this, because I also think people forget that the grant of rights and the TV contract are not the same thing. If I hear one more person say, well, ESPN is not going to determine what happens with the grant of rights. And I know that I've said this 1,000 times on the show, but I feel like people don't recognize the fact that, A, you need to hit the like button right now on the show while I explain that the grant of rights is between the universities and the conference. That's as simple as it is. It's an agreement that each university signs that says you have the right to distribute my home games. You have the right to do that. So anytime two conference teams play, you're on ESPN, you're on CBS, you're on NBC, right? But if it's a non-conference game and it's on the road specifically, or okay, we're going to be on Raycom or the CW, right? Like, that grant of rights is between the universities and the conference. The TV contract is between the conference and the distributor, ESPN, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox. They're two completely different agreements. So everybody that keeps saying Florida State's not going to pay ESPN, it's not about Florida State paying ESPN. Florida State's never going to pay ESPN, and ESPN's never going to pay Florida State. And people seem to conflate, confuse, mix the two together. The grant of rights is a wholly different agreement than a TV contract. They're not similar. They're not remotely similar. And they are between completely different parties. The universities, while they have a say in what those rights are, and as we watched in the Pac-12 meltdown,
yes,
they had a say in what those rights were, but who ultimately failed to get a TV deal in the Pac-12? It wasn't Stanford or Cal or Utah or SC. It was George Kliavkoff. It was the Pac-12's inability to do a deal with Google and YouTube TV all those years ago. It wasn't the university's fault. It was the commissioner's fault. It was the conference's failings. So you have to understand that the grant of rights and the TV contract are two totally different deals.
And I think what's hard is that there's this sort of, commingling effect, if you will, right? So like the reason George Kliavkoff, as an example, was such a problem is because he was just a poor businessman, like not understanding, hey, like you can't go, like anytime you do a business deal, and you've got multiple parties involved and you're the middleman,
Yeah.
you can't go to one of those parties and ask for $500 million when everybody and their mom knows that the reasonable number is like 100 million or
Correct.
200 million. And that's what I feel like happens in these negotiations. The problem is that the ACC situation is a situation where ESPN really liked the terms of the deal that the commissioner presented, and the school signed that extension. So again,
which I think is the most damning thing, that you sign the extension.
Like we have this whole situation, and I love this concept. Everyone's like, hey, well, I think it's this coming January, I think is the deadline. It could be a little later than that, where ESPN still has to technically sign the extension for the ACC
next year, by 2025.
Yeah, and so everyone wants to say, oh, well, ESPN is in control of this thing. Do you understand that it doesn't behoove ESPN to see the ACC meltdown? Right? Like, it's not good for ESPN if a power conference in college athletics just burns to the ground and we have all this realignment and chaos in college football. All ESPN wants to do is see things stay pretty much the same, right?
Yes.
Hey, we want smooth sailing, calm waters. We signed an agreement. Like, we want that agreement to play out over the next 9 years on this fresh extension that they're looking at signing. So the idea that people are like, oh, well, ESPN, controls the fate and they want everything to go this way or that way is complete fantasy land.
100%.
Like, it's not logical. So anytime you hear someone say, hey, ESPN wants this or wants that, just understand you're talking to someone who doesn't necessarily understand how this business gets done. So then you go to, well, hey, how are the 10 schools going to come together and break this grant of rights? And what I think the most important question in that conversation is, where are they going next? Because I can tell you this, 10 schools are not going to come together and break a grant of rights if they don't have homes.
Totally agree.
So we know for a fact that Notre Dame would have a home. Duke and UNC would have a home. Obviously, Clemson would have a home. And the only question for the major player really remains is Clemson or is Florida State.
Is Florida State a fit in the SEC?
Yeah. Like,
I don't think this has ever been about the blue blood brands of the ACC. I mean, they are. I don't care who you are. If you don't respect Florida State as an athletic department and an athletic brand, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
I would more be pointed at, like, North Carolina State's an interesting contrast.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have half the value that North Carolina has.
Yeah.
And it's why this Bubba Cunningham situation at these ACC meetings was so interesting yesterday. Like, how on earth are we now in a situation where what I believe is that you have regents at North Carolina disrespecting Bubba Cunningham and calling into to question his position at North Carolina, which is out of this world. Like, he is a phenomenal administrator.
Mm-hmm.
Bubba Cunningham, I think people don't understand how much he has done to level up North Carolina in revenue alone.
Well, I think anytime you start getting regents involved, you're talking about getting people involved who are not necessarily experts in the athletic landscape. They're experts in how does this university in totality remain profitable and remain in a good place. And so if you think about it, and again, this is another thing that we talked about with the Pac-12 situation, a lot of parallels here. Hey, anytime someone who is let's say a regent or like a powerhouse in academia gets involved in an athletic conversation, it's not going to go well for the folks who run athletics, which is why I think this Bubba Cunningham situation is A, ridiculous, but B, well, like, it's taking place. Like, it is
I'm
ridiculous,
shocked by
but it is surprising that they would undermine Bubba the way they have. And I don't know, because again,
is that too strong?
I don't think it's too strong, because Bubba Cunningham has led you to a great place. Like, again, the contrast of, hey, what was it, 5 to 7 years ago when you started this agreement, I think it was. When you signed this agreement, all the regents and everybody was like, wow, great agreement, bro. And now all of a sudden, because the SEC, the Big 10 and the Big 12 have all done better business than you, now you want to say it's on Bubba Cunningham. And you want to say, hey, oh, it's on athletics. They made a bad decision here. And that's not what took place.
Well, and I think some of it, from what I understand, is that Bubba Cunningham is unwilling to come out and publicly talk about North Carolina leaving the conference.
And how does that help you, UNC, bro?
I don't think it does. And I think that Bubba's always been a guy that has made his position very clear that you move in silence like a G in lasagna, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like win in silence, lose in silence, be the same level that you are when you're winning and losing. Like, I think that's exactly how Bubba Cunningham likes to operate. And clearly that is not sat well with certain regions at North Carolina. And I would caution, not that they listen to this show, but, because nobody listens. We're just the hacks on YouTube.
We're just the hacks on YouTube.
But I would caution North Carolina and the regents at North Carolina to be like, hey, probably ought to slow play this where we burn Bubba Cunningham to the ground, because I'm telling you now, if he leaves North Carolina is not as strong as they were when he was there.
Yes.
That is a step back. Because, again, this is what I say about JB Bickerstaff in Cleveland this morning with everybody calling for him to be fired. Who are you going to go get to replace him? Who is going to be better for the long-term future and viability of North Carolina athletics than Bubba Cunningham? I don't know either. I don't. And I wonder, what do you guys think happens in the comment section? Hook it up. Drop a comment. Does the ACC survive a year from now? Is it still the same roster of universities in the ACC that we have now? I think that's incredibly unlikely.
Well, I think it's unlikely, but I also think it's impossible to answer because, again, it really comes down to, just how strong these universities are when they band together. So if we do, in fact, get 10 of them that publicly get together and say, hey, this group of schools is looking to break their grant of rights, and that process has begun. Once that comes out publicly, then you will know the ACC is coming to an end. But again, we haven't heard that publicly yet. We've only heard, hey, the Clemson and Florida State suit, UNC, we've got some noise, but we don't have that real organized, concerted effort to go ahead and do something about it. And I'm not sure that they can really, I don't know that it's smart for these folks to break this grant of right until the TV contracts that were signed or the grant of rights that were signed in the other conferences have a year or two left until you kind of enter that negotiation window. Because again, if you're going to enter a conference in the middle of their, agreements, you're going to take a lesser share whether you want to or not, because it's going to be tough to get a full share.
You're going to take a lesser share whether ESPN or whoever the TV partner is pays up to have you in that league.
Yeah.
Because those other members, again, to point out the grant of rights, which if you add or subtract a member, the grant of rights has to be opened up to be adjusted. This happened in the Big Ten. This happened in the Big 12, where you're going to say, okay, hey, and I think Clemson is part of this because, again, I will say what I've said for a year. Clemson only won a national championship and competed for others because they dominated the ACC and had little to no competition in that league.
Mm-hmm.
And I jokingly said for several years, the ACC stands for already crowned Clemson.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
And to what you said, I thought a couple of months ago when you brought this back up, what did Bobby Bowden say about going to the SEC? And why did they stay in the ACC?
Yeah, because the ACC was an easier road.
Because the SEC was too competitive and the ACC was a clear path to a championship.
So let me get this right. Everybody is in our comments section and, crawling down our throats about, oh, well, the SEC, they had their chance. You had your chance to go to the SEC and you chose not to do it. And Florida State at that time was one of the leading voices to go to the ACC. So
it was, I don't know that I would characterize it as a mistake. If you wind up cutting a $500 million check to get out of the ACC, that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
If you find 9 others and somehow you break the grant of rights and I don't know. I can't see a place where the conference completely melts down and nobody pays anything to leave. I highly doubt that. You have a contract with the conference who turned around and signed a contract with a provider and ESPN and ABC and Disney. I have a hard time believing that happens. If you wind up walking away from the ACC without paying a penny, that probably wasn't a mistake. You had access you probably wouldn't have had. But I tend to agree with you. Yeah. You probably should have been in the SEC all along. Florida State's a power brand that would have fit nicely in the SEC at this point. But then is Missouri in? Is Texas A&M in that league? Maybe not.
I mean, I think it's hard to again, today's circumstances are so far and away different than what you would have seen at that time. Yeah. And I think we need to say that. But I just think it's hilarious that people are like, oh, well, they're a perfect fit in the SEC. And it's like, yeah, geographically speaking, cool. Yeah, they are a great fit geographically speaking. But I'm not sure that Florida State aligns with the culture in the SEC. And what I mean is, when's the last time you heard a school or any type of leadership at the school level in the SEC come out and criticize the conference? When's the last time there was any type of issue on any level about anything? Because I can't tell you when the last time I heard anybody in the SEC complaining about the conference and its business dealings. Now, of course, we get like Jimbo and Saban and these coaches talking junk to each other and all that. That's all perfectly fine. But I haven't ever heard anybody criticize anything about a TV deal, a grant of rights, scheduling, like anything. And that is because Greg Sankey runs a super tight ship. And so people don't have to go to the media to complain. They go to Greg. They go to their guy. And that's where I say, hey, Florida State may not be the best fit. You are a barking dog in the ACC. You're a troublemaker. And all of a sudden, you just think the SEC is going to be like, yeah, why don't you come on in? Come on into the best conference in college football. I don't necessarily think it's that easy for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how all this plays out. And I think a year from now, I think there is a 51-49% chance that the same teams are in this league. Because I don't know. It's going to take a major – Notre Dame is going to have to get on board with trashing that league. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, Notre Dame is going to have to join the Big Ten. And I think – because you got to remember Notre Dame's setup. They are independent in football. They are not independent in any other sport. All of their other sports are in the ACC. And if Notre Dame is to join a conference while the ACC is in existence for football, if they're going to put Notre Dame football in a conference while the ACC is in existence, they have to join the ACC in football.
Yeah.
So the only way that Notre Dame joins a conference is if the ACC melts down, because I don't think anybody is going to do a deal with Notre Dame the way that the ACC did.
Yeah.
And totally I'm not saying the ACC did something wrong. I actually think they did something very right. But Notre Dame is going to have to be in a position and have to have a voice where if the ACC is to melt down, Notre Dame's going to have to be on board with that. And I just can't, even with Jack Swarbrick retiring, I can't see Notre Dame getting behind the destruction of the ACC. As somebody that's observed Notre Dame my entire life, I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. I can't see Notre Dame acting in that fashion.
And again, I also think it's funny that people are like, oh, well, Nick Saban retired, Swarbrick retired. They're not doing anything anymore. That's just couldn't be farther from the truth. Saban is still out recruiting. Saban is still out helping Alabama.
Saban still has an office at Alabama.
So, like, just because dudes technically retire doesn't mean that they don't enjoy the hobby of running colleges, or running football programs or athletic departments.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a very interesting conundrum because I think the ACC is bent over backwards at the conference level to placate Florida State.
Yeah, I mean, this success.
And what have they gotten? What have they gotten out of it?
Nothing.
Like, again, I remind you, the success initiative, this is it right here. They completely changed the way that revenue is distributed. And Last year is a great example of how this impacts Florida State. Florida State didn't go to the college football playoff. Why didn't they go to the college football playoff? Because they got hurt and they got left on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Now that we have a 12-team playoff, how does Florida State not go to the college football playoff? I think they will. And I think one of the more interesting parts of this is this year you're likely to make as much, if not the most, any team has ever made in revenue from the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Florida State football, you're going to make as much money as you've ever made from your conference. And yet it's still not good enough. And that's the question I ask. What is it going to take? Because if you're ESPN, are you willing to cough up more money? You're not. Why would you?
No.
You have a contract in place. You're a business. You need to be able to budget and model out. Why would ESPN do that? And again, I go back to where we started here. What is the motivation for the ACC to settle this dispute with Clemson and Florida State? Because I can't find what their motivation would be. I don't know what that would be.
Totally agree.
Because you keep them in, are you getting more money from your TV partners? You're not. You keep them in, are they ever going to be happy? Apparently not. Like, it's never good enough. You expanded, not good enough. Hey, we made a really smart, savvy financial expansion decision with Stanford, Cal, and SMU. Making you more money, not good enough. I don't know what it's going to take. I truly do not. So that's where we're at. What do you think happens? Did the ACC die yesterday? And do you believe a year from now it will be intact? Who are the first ones in this morning? Pete Forte. Good morning. Hello. Interesting to note, though. Interesting to note that all these conversations, can you backfill Florida State and Clemson? Does the ACC have a chance to create a truly national conference? Who are the best available G5s? I say available. Who are the best G5s ready to step up into?
Well, I mean, San
P4?
Diego State's clearly first on the list.
San Diego State's got to be there.
Yeah.
UNLV's got to be there.
Yep. A lot of people tell you Boise State's there.
Yeah, I don't.
But I'm not so sure about that.
I know I'm always the guy that's alone in this. I don't think Boise State's on that level. Is Fresno State more ready than Boise State? I would probably think so, but boy, Tiger just missed a terrible putt.
Yeah.
You got to do better than that if you're Tiger Woods. Although not a lot of putts have fallen early here. Luke Donald, 2 under through 4, leads the PGA Championship at Valhalla. We'll keep you up to date on that. I think it very clearly is. And I might put UNLV on top of San Diego State with the explosion in the Las Vegas sports market. I mean, you're playing at Allegiant Stadium. You have access to every amenity that you could need. I think it's very interesting to see where, is San Diego State a more valuable brand than UNLV? Certainly. Is it a better market than UNLV? I don't know that I'm willing to say that anymore.
And I think the other hard part is competitiveness at the power level for these schools. When you're the ACC, because again, it's like, obviously you'd add them at probably a 60% share. I would guess they're not going to get a full share coming into the ACC, but again, it's the travel costs with the lack of competitiveness against power level schools. And you're not going to backfill that cost. So everyone say, oh, well, yeah, you can go out and get a G5 school, but how does the ACC come out even close to square on that, right? Like you lost Clemson and Florida State and you backfilled that with San Diego State, let's say, or, Fresno State or whatever, right? Whoever it would wind up being. And that's the hard part is like, there's not a great way to keep the value, to which I say, again, the ACC, as you said, is bending over backwards trying to find a solution here. And it just seems like these schools are not interested in it. And I'm telling you, when we get to the other side of this thing, where will these schools end up and what will their positions be? Because if you don't wind up with a greener, patch of grass on the other side of this, what was the point? Why did we do all this?
Boy, UNLV versus San Diego State's very interesting. Obviously San Diego State's recent success in basketball. But I mean, UNLV's had great success of late on the football field. I think that's a very good question.
Yeah.
I don't think it's one that's cut and dry. Mike Smith, hello. Good morning to you, my friend. OG Gary, Matt Ritson, morning guy, ACC done, stick a fork before they get burnt. Okay. Dakota Tubbs, the ACC should give out better pro ratas.
Better send those refunds.
You know what I'm saying? Big Blue Horses, hello. Mr. Preston, the world famous auto mechanic, hello. Good to see you.
Oh, God.
The tailgate on the Jeep is an issue. I have a Jeep Grand Cherokee Summit, and the articulating arm, whatever you call it, that opens and closes my tailgate's broken.
Arm.
Mrs. Monty's like, oh, it'll be easy. They're on Amazon. We should do it ourselves.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know about that. Jeremiah Champion, hello. UW fan Jim Romadunze, good morning, and go Dogs. Okay. Big Blue Horses. Monty plays with his woods. I did yesterday. Do you guys know how hard golf is?
Cock.
Dude, golf is difficult. Big Daddy Magic, who is now on TikTok. You should find Big Daddy Magic on TikTok.
Victor's the way.
He is Big Daddy Magic. Hey, player, the Chicago Bears might go 500, and you should be thanking the Lord Jesus that the Bears don't have to meet the almighty Buffalo Bills. Already starting. John Dry, hello. Mike Smith says top 10. Okay. John Dry says, I'm ready for schools to start leaving the PACC. Come on, bro. Are you rooting for the ACC to melt down?
I'm not rooting for the ACC to melt down, but I'm telling you, man, we're getting to a point where, again, the lesser conferences are falling apart, and I'm not going to sit here and blame the SEC and the Big Ten for it. But what I am telling you is these conferences are going to melt down, and then we're going to consolidate more, and it's going to get to a point where the Big Ten and the SEC can't handle as many schools as are going to be trying to get in. And once that happens, now you're talking about, a second tier power program looking at being a G5 through no fault of their own, like, Pitt or like some type of non-college football playoff contender going and getting exiled to G5 land.
Oh, the Pitt fans just hung up on you. Tanner Plumer, sup, gang? How about Beavers? Okay. Big Blue Horses, why has SEC and Big Ten stayed silent? Why would they say anything? They want the meltdown, and it consolidates their power. I don't necessarily think they believe that, and I don't necessarily believe that. I think at some point, consolidation is not good. If you're the Big Ten in the SEC, I mean, what I would think you're hoping for is solutions that make you more money.
Mm-hmm.
And adding more teams does not necessarily equate to more money. If you are Carolina and Duke and you join the Big Ten, if you're Notre Dame and you join the Big Ten wins. What does that do for the SEC? I don't know that it does a whole lot. I truly, honestly, I don't know that it does a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very interesting question. They make more because there is less premium tier competition. I think I just disagree with you. I don't see it that way. And Donuts, hello. Do you see a contraction in sports entertainment? Do you see a contraction in sports entertainment causing panic? What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Sports entertainment, how? Like,
I thought it was interesting at the summit this week at Disney that Bob Iger said they are going to stop funding live television and made-for-television content. That all of their resources will eventually be placed in streaming, which, as we've seen, they're making significant money on. Disney is a streaming behemoth now, and ESPN is one of the brands leading that charge. I don't know that I see contraction in sports entertainment. I see more options. I think what we talked about the other day with Netflix and I don't remember who the brands were, but the cock, I think Netflix, Peacock, like getting together to offer an inclusive package. That's what we need.
A package.
Yeah. That's what I think we're going to see. But I don't necessarily believe that our sports entertainment options are contracting. I think we have never had more opportunity. Like I'm watching the PGA Championship on ESPN Plus right now.
Mm-hmm.
In past years, I would not have been able to see early round coverage of the PGA Championship.
But now we can.
It's very, I mean, it's not an accident. That's just me. OG Gary says the ACC is probably done. Magcat, hello. This next round of college realignment, get your popcorn ready. No telling what will happen. I think
Totally
that's very
agree.
true. During the next round of alignment, get your popcorn ready. Okay, so you commented twice. That's fine. James, the official ambassador of Bucky barbecue sandwiches.
Monty, if there's realignment, how am I going to get Bucky's barbecue sandwiches?
This is all about the money. If ESPN and another network were to offer a combined $80 million per team a year, the ACC schools, they would. Here's the problem with that theory, though. You're not worth that. The only reason that you get $100 million for the Big Ten is because people watch to that level, which is why it's a little surprising that the SEC did not get $100 million after leaving CBS. So I think the days of the big time TV contract I think are over.
Right.
Those days are over. I don't think that's happening. Big Blue Horses, why offer 80 per school when you can let the ACC melt down, pay less for the leftovers, and pay the Big and SEC the same? Outside Notre Dame, no one in the ACC moves the TV needle. Oh, that's
just not true.
That's just not true.
Yeah.
I think in football, Florida State moves every needle. I don't know how you look at Florida State and you don't see a power brand all the way around. I mean, people tune in. They compete at the highest level. I mean, they have an alumni base. They are a strong educational institution. Like everything you want, you're getting out of Florida State. Ed Enriquez, Florida State going to be reaching out to the Advocates due to the injury to their ego.
Well played. Well played.
Big Daddy Magic. Hey, playa, I think it's hilarious that you think Notre Dame has all this power. Okay. Tell me how they don't. Tulane, Memphis, South Florida, San Diego State, Wazoo, Beavers, UTSA, and Fresno. UTSA is not on the same level as UNLV and San Diego State. I think Tulane's very interesting. They almost got the pro rata they deserved in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis is so dysfunctional. And South Florida does not have an on-campus football stadium, at least not yet. So, I don't know. And I don't look at Oregon State as a G5. I don't. So,
yeah.
I don't think that how you don't have UNLV on that list is remarkable to me. If you divide the conference into East and West, it may be viable. Could be. Bishop Sycamore to the ACC. Okay. And Donuts, Boise State has a bigger brand than San Diego State and Fresno. I don't know if that's true.
I think probably,
they had
yeah,
Statue of Liberty and engagements on the field. They had a bigger brand. But does anybody watch Boise State basketball? I mean, Boise State football is competitive in the mountain, but UNLV is as well.
Yeah.
Fresno State is as well. I mean, I just don't think, I think Boise's living on past, not present.
Agreed.
I think and your coach is coming out saying we're not paying NIL money, which is what recruits heard, which is what he said was we have NIL money, but we want you to earn it. And freshmen won't get NIL deals.
Yeah.
Which is not what top talent wants to hear. So I don't know.
No,
I think
it is
it's
not.
I think it's very interesting. Maury Alvarez, 156 watching right now, only 36 likes. Let's go. Actually, it's almost 500 people watching across all platforms. Come and find us. If you're watching on Twitter, we very much appreciate you watching on Twitter. Our Twitter audiences have grown significantly, which we appreciate. Thank you for that. Come on over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We really appreciate you guys supporting the show. We could not do this without you. 169 watching on YouTube, 47. By the way, I will also say thank you to everybody who watches on YouTube. Our subscriber, as you see, we passed 100,000 subscribers. We're on to 103,000, I think almost 104,000 now.
Yeah.
Our viewership numbers are as strong as they have ever been.
But Monty, you bought bots. You bought bots.
Yeah, because buying bots is what works. Longhorn Pep says good morning. Hello. Hello. Big Blue Horses. I agree with Monty. Boise is a one-trick pony who has nothing to offer and hasn't been consistently relevant in anything but arrogance. Well, I'm not sure
that Monty said that.
I just think that Boise State is living in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think they're the football power that they were under, let's say, Chris Peterson. And I think until they get back to that, and until you are a dominant football brand again, competing for the college football playoff, competing in the college football playoff, you're not better than Fresno State. You're not better than UNLV.
Oh, you're not.
And I look at UNLV's not sitting here talking about their great basketball program because Jerry Tarkanian and George Ackles kicked people's asses 20 years ago. That's, as Jake so succinctly points out every single day to tell me how wrong I am, Stanford's not valuable because they don't win on the field.
Facts.
You have to win now. It's what you've done for me lately. How many people do you bring to the TV today?
And every time we talk about Stanford, I always like to point out, I think it's hilarious that Stanford is one of those.
Brooks Koepka is on the tee at Valhalla, and his wife is hot. And he just striped a drive right down the middle. My guy is back. Let's go. Okay, you were saying.
No, please go ahead. Continue. Next comment.
Two Masters says KU to the ACC. Sources.
Oh, yeah.
Must be. Ghost of Gumby. Saw, dude. Saw Gumby. What's up? Hans Stoley. Love listening to the show at the gym. Love the AM shows. Glad you're back.
Love listening to the show at the gym.
Who you even with?
Boston State has their own ESPN contract, Jimmy Otson says, which is changing slightly or will change because those tier 3 things. Here's the thing about, and I continue to say this, and I should look it up before I guess. But if you're Boise State, and again, I don't hate Boise State. In fact, I respect Boise State.
Well, Monty, you said they suck and they don't belong in a power conference. What do you mean? Come on, Monty.
I just want to understand, and I was correct. Boise State does no longer has that deal because they have the Mountain's new TV deal is with Fox and CBS. And I would remind you that they still get a $2 million bonus. So Boise State gets accommodations that nobody else in the Mountain gets. And I ask why? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Do you deserve more pro rata than San Diego State? Not in basketball, you don't. But football powers the world. Okay, do you deserve more pro rata than UNLV does? I don't know, maybe. I guess. We'll see. It's interesting. I think that's one of the more interesting situations is the Mountain West. Because I don't think the ACC is nearly in the peril that the Mountain West is in should the ACC melt down. Because I think we don't talk about or flesh out the long-term impact of the ACC melting down. We didn't flesh out because I think a lot of people had their heads up their asses when the Pac-12 melted down, that Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and Washington State would be on the outside looking in. Are you telling me that the Mountain West is not in a very delicate position here?
Yeah, they are.
Because I think they are.
Yeah, they are.
They have a lot of really nice brands that would quite nicely fill up the bottom of a P4 conference that would then be a P3 conference. I mean, it's just really, if you are doing a God tier, how are San Diego State, Boise State, UNLV, and Fresno not in the God tier?
It's a great question.
Not sure you can have a God tier and leave brands like that on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
I don't know. But who am I? Boston Mapes. Good morning, all beautiful people. Hello. The eye patch potato State fans think Chris Peterson is their coach. Still to this day. Still to this day. The Ghost of Gumby. Uncle Monty's shirt looks nice today. You like the penguin?
Dude, it's a nice shirt, man.
You like the penguin? Gary Wolf. Morning, dudes. Y'all whip that like Button's ass. Exactly right. Whip that like Button's ass. I feel like
the way people talk about the like button is getting more violent by the day.
I agree.
Like,
I would agree. By the way, Tiger Woods +1 through 2, and he just pulled his drive left on 3.
Yeah. It's going to be a long day for Tiger, I think.
LT Gray?
Yeah.
Dude, golf is hard. I know you guys probably don't care, but golf is hard. Like, I'm trying to change my iron swing, and I'm failing miserably. And I feel bad for my swing coach, Darren Ingram, up at Canyons Golf in Park City, is my swing coach. I can't, you know what? You take the club out of my hand, and I can give you a perfect golf swing. Put a club into my hand and a ball on the ground, and I can't do it. And I'm watching these guys, like, I look at Tiger Woods. That guy swings the club. He has a club touch a ball, he says, 1,000 times a day. And he still pulls his drive left. And he still pulls his wedges left.
Yeah.
I'm hitting maybe 100 balls a day right now. And I am not, I
could go and play Valhalla. Come on. Let's go.
I wish people understood how difficult golf is. Golf is very difficult. Let's see. Big Blue Horses, quick shout out to the comment section. Thanks, y'all. Y'all make my morning fun. Peace out. Work to do. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. OG Gary, at what point do we start calling Monty UNC?
I don't understand.
I'm not sure what that means.
that didn't really work out, dude.
I'm a UNC basketball fan. Boise State is loaded for a G5. Dirk Cutter as the OC, etc. There's a huge investment, and they're swinging for the fence. Well, that's all well and good. But a year ago, we were all saying the same thing. And look at how their season started last year.
Yeah.
Now, the end is what matters. And I agree, there's a huge investment, both in infrastructure, in facilities, in talent, I get it. Why is your head coach out saying we're not paying freshman players NIL deals?
Because you don't want to pay money right now. That's why. You don't want to get into tough situations with players because you don't have a lot of money to spend.
And you guys understand that schools are budgeting $35 million a year now for these NIL settlements and the revenue sharing. Does Boise State have $35 million a year for the next decade?
Hell no.
You can't tell me they do. Does UNLV? Does
Hell
San
no.
Diego State?
Hell no.
Does Fresno State?
Hell no.
Probably not. Probably not. And it's why I say the Mountain West is not stable. Does Oklahoma State have $35 million a year for the next 10 years?
Maybe.
I think they do.
Maybe.
Okay. Who's the worst team in the Big 12?
Baylor.
Does Baylor have $35 million a year for the next 10 years?
No.
I think they do. I think Houston does. Okay. Does SMU? Yeah, I don't think they do.
It's a lot of money, bro.
Does UTSA? I mean, this is what we're talking about. Do you really, if you are Boise State, do you really want to step up and be in the P4? Do you know how much more money you're going to have to pay? Because notice that it is revenue sharing, not profit sharing.
Right.
So it's just the revenue you generate. I think it's just, I'm telling you,
it's a
not.
tough situation, man. There's not a convenient answer for these schools, and that's why I'm saying it's a dangerous time.
Let's see. Gumby, golf is hard. I can't hit a ball off the tee.
I mean, we were hitting nukes last night. I mean, I ain't even gonna lie. Like, we were hitting good.
Here's where I'm at with my swing. So again, Darren Ingram up at Canyons. I send him videos pretty much every day, and he tells me how shitty my golf swing is. He doesn't. So basically he says, okay, well, here's what I want to see you do. Do this. And so we'll get together in person, and while we're together, I can do it. And then so lately all I've been doing, like I wake up every morning, I'm like while the shower's warming up, I'm taking 25 swings without a golf club in my hand, just making sure, right? Like I get to the driving range yesterday, and before I ever picked up a club, I did 25, 30 dry swings, picked up a club, did 25 or 30 more dry swings. So now I've done 50, let's call it, swings without ever hitting a ball. I go and hit a ball and I can't do it. It's because I'm a mental midget, and I totally understand that. But here's the other thing. I'm crushing the ball with a really ugly swing. So, and you guys don't give a shit about this, I'm certain.
Yeah, well, it's the Monty Show, not the comment section show.
So I changed my swing in January. After the holiday golf swing where we went to Southern California, went to Las Vegas, like changed my swing. I am not exaggerating. For the last 6 weeks, I have not been able to hit a ball with an iron. I don't know how you explain it. I have really struggled. And it's because trying to hit a ball the right way, where you have an inside out swing path where the club is coming flat into the ball.
Yeah.
I can't stand up upright and do it. And so I've been chunking, or I've had so many balls just shoot out right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so disheartening. Like I'll honestly tell you, there have been rounds of golf where I have stood there and almost cried about it. It is that frustrating. And this week I have swung the club. The other day I hit a full bucket and then hit another half bucket, which is probably 150 swings on, what's today, Thursday? Tuesday night I did about 150 swings. And last night I did about 100 more, and my swing looks like crap, but the ball goes. And I don't know how you explain. It's the most frustrating thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
The most and it's just, it's so frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree.
By
the way, Canyons opens in
Canyons Golf in Park City, May 24th. What did we say?
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend.
My wife is, do you guys believe my wife is abandoning me for Memorial Day? She's going to LA for her niece's wedding a week early, and then I'm going out for like 1 day. Shut up. For like 1 day. I leave Friday night, I get in Saturday, and I come back Sunday night or Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But it's, Canyons Golf. I think you said, Darren told you
Memorial
they open the 24th.
Weekend.
Yeah,
yep.
Memorial Day weekend. I'm excited. I'll take $35 million in French fried potatoes, though. Me too.
Taters.
Man, I so desperately last night. So I'm not eating a whole lot of dinner right now.
Mm-hmm.
My wife says to me, "Hey, can you go and get some granola at the small Harmon's in Daybreak where you pay 50 times more for everything?" I was like, "Sure."
What is this, the Big Ten?
Bro, I walked into Harmon's last night to get the granola, and they had fresh baked, thick peanut butter cookies.
Big guy, the thickness, huh?
Fat.
Big thickness fan.
I was trying to get some fresh baked rolls to make sandwiches with.
Yeah.
And the lady dude, they looked so good, and I didn't do it.
Yeah, Harmon's is a dangerous store at certain times of the day.
I didn't do it.
Well
And yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
UW fan Jim. I played football. If things are going bad, get pissed and try harder. I found that doesn't work for golf. It does not work.
No, golf is a mental game.
Yes, it is. And you know the funny thing is, I swing the club. Oh, Max Homa.
Oh my God, it stayed out.
Oh, Max Homa was chipping up onto a green from a valley below in rough, and the rough caught the club, and he almost backspun it into a bunker. Good Lord. I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, yeah. I find I hit the ball better when I don't swing as hard.
Yeah.
When I swing hard, I don't hit the ball nearly as well. I don't. Big Daddy Magic. Hey, play it. Try meditating before you play golf. Become one with your ball. Okay. Gary Wolf. Monty, try doing Happy Gilmore swings. Nah, bro. I take golf way too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I truly do. I take it way too seriously. KU number 1 gives us $2.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And donuts, $10. Golf fun. Thanks for the chat. Have a great day, guys. And donuts.
Do you think you'll ever be in a place where you don't take it as seriously? Do you think that's possible for you?
Well, when I say take it seriously, dude, I really love golf, and I cannot stand bad golf. I don't mind. I've gotten to a place where I'm not shot to shot guy anymore. Last year, every shot was life and death. I'm not like that anymore. It's when I have the iron out and I'm like 2-3 straight shots. But the problem is for me, I hit my driver well enough where a lot of times I'm 150 yards out. And I should be able to hit a 9-iron very effectively. And it just drives me crazy these last 6-8 weeks where I have not been able to hit a single iron shot.
Yeah.
It has been, and I was a good iron player last summer with a terrible swing. And I wanted to have a swing. You know what the truth is? I want a swing that looks like I have some idea of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the God's honest truth. And I don't know if that makes sense or not. No crying in golf, but a lot of cussing. Truth.
Dude.
Truth. Very true. OG Gary, UNC as in short for uncle.
Hey,
Sure.
hey, Gary, once you're done figuring out how many teams you're going to be a fan of,
Stop.
when are you actually going to come out on the golf course?
Yeah,
because I'm still waiting.
Gary has talked about playing golf, and we've never played golf. So we'll see. Bo, read Rob Rotella. Golf is not a game of golf is not a game of perfection. Most holes, golf is 2 or 3 average shots and 1 good putt. That's what golf is.
Yes.
Tiger +1 through 3, by the way, at Valhalla. Tiger's a great example of it. Golf is a lot of bad shots where and not even bad shots. You only make the perfect shot once per hole with a putter. Other than that, you're just, and again, my wedges are really good right now. I don't practice my wedges at all because I am really trying to get my iron swing back in place.
Mm-hmm.
My woods are good. My driver's good. I'm 300 off the tee pretty much every driver now. But it will see.
Tough game, bro.
It is a tough game. It is. Golf causing Monty mental pain. It's causing the pain in the brain. Mama said golf is the devil. But I love it. I love it. Kale. Same here, Monty. I was pretty good with my irons last year. Have you been using mats at the range? I did over the winter, and I think it wrecked my game on actual grass. Well, mats are – so I have a golf setup in my backyard.
Now you do.
Now
you
I
did
do.
not over the winter.
I did not over the winter. And yes, I was on mats over the winter. But last year was the first year that I was back playing golf full-time in 10 years.
Right.
Minimum. I don't chunk my irons ever until the last 6 weeks when I tried to learn how to swing a golf club the right way. I'm not even joking.
I think that the hard part is that like there is a structure of how to swing a club, the quote unquote right way. But the reality is everybody's swing is different. And so
Correct.
it's a situation where, part of me says, hey, yeah, I mean, obviously you want to learn how to swing it the right way, or, have some semblance of the correct mechanics. But at the same time, like, people criticize like John Daly's swing for decades. People, criticize I can't remember dude's name from Live Golf, who Taylor Gooch's swing from Live Golf, I believe it
Dustin
is.
Johnson's swing.
Dustin Johnson's swing. So like, but they all kind of fall into the same framework. It just looks a little different inside that framework. So yeah, I mean, I do think that there's value in learning how to swing it the right way, but at the same time, like, I at some point you have to get to a place where it can be more enjoyable. And so I don't know if it's worth it to do that right now, or if it's more just worth it to, get to a pretty solid spot and stay there.
I'd like to be a 0 handicap. I don't like whatever the fuck scratch golfer means. I'm not looking for that. I would guess right now, last summer when I was playing my best golf, I was an 8 handicap. I would bet you I am a 10 or 12 right now. If I went and played 18, we're playing
Cedar
up in
Hills?
Cedar Hills on Saturday, but we're playing Soldier Hollow on Sunday. If I keep my score at Soldier Hollow, I'll probably be an 85. I would guess. And it all depends on how I hit my irons. Because right now my driver's great. My woods are really good,
Mm-hmm.
And we should, Damian, ask my wife if my wood is any good. Mike Smith, golf causing Monty mental pain. Yes. Doesn't matter how your shot looks as long as it's consistent and effective. Brandon Butler says, correct. But so what I do is I step out. My front foot steps out after contact.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that. I hate it. I don't like the way it looks. I want to finish on my front leg. But I do that because I have what's called an out to in swing path. And it's really narrowed now. Now I'm pretty much straight to the ball. But it used to be out, like where your arms go out and then come in, which on a driver, I used to slice my driver constantly. Now I do not. Now I found this little weight shift backward through the ball. So it's evolving and I am getting better, but it's tough, dude. It is tough. Scratch golf is 0 handicap. Whatever it is, I want to be able to compete on every single hole.
Yeah, I think the thing though is that to get to that level, you need more time. You need more practice time.
Yes,
you're not gonna. In our current setup with how much we work, you're not going to be a scratch golfer.
No,
like you would need.
It's not.
You would need to just be doing, like you would.
I would have to be doing double what I'm doing now.
Well, in life setup as an example for the average Joe, like you just have to have like a 9 to 5, and then you have to practice before and after work every
day.
Day.
I don't have time for.
Yeah.
I think I am pretty lucky in that I have progressed rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
There was a year ago I could not competitively play golf, in my opinion. But this year I would be surprised if there were. I can compete, especially when I'm hitting my driver. If I hit my driver well at like Glenmore and South Jordan, I'm playing driver 9-iron at most every hole.
Yeah. But see, that's the problem, right? Like driver's great, but then the irons just are awry.
Yeah. If you hand me, we'll see. I don't know. I don't even want to say it out loud. I don't, whatever scratch golfer means, I just want to get down to a 0 handicap. That's my goal. I need to play more and I need to practice more. And a lot of that is probably going to be my chipping. I'm putting really well.
Yeah, I think that there needs to be, for the swing thing is really hard. I find it weird or not. I think about how you yourself can get that swing to where you want it to be. And the only way that I can see to do it is, is getting with Darren and, just suffering for a long time. And, I know Darren, can't do a lesson once a week, every single week. I know that's what you said, but I'm telling you, that's what my boy here needs. So my guy here needs.
I need a lot of swings, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
we'll see. My backyard golf orgasm goes in the first week of June. So we're completely redoing. We're taking out all of our stuff in the backyard. We're putting in turf. We're going to have a putting area. We'll see how that helps, because your short game definitely is your driver and your wedges are, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's 10 strokes around right there. I'm not even exaggerating. Kale says, I definitely get that. I'm on a place where I just play to have fun. It hurts my soul too much to pay $50 to just be mad. I didn't do as good as I wanted at a sport I'm forcing myself to do. Well,
and that's for me. So for me, like, golf is much more of a thing where I do play it shot to shot, in the sense that I'm trying to look at the shot and say, okay, what kind of shot do I want to hit here? What am I trying to do? Because I know that if I walk up, like if I hit like with my driver, like I have a propensity to hit it right. That's my miss. And so when I hit it right, I'm like, all right, cool. We're probably going to be in trouble with this next shot. But how good of a job can I do getting myself back in a solid position? And I take solace in that, because that's what the game's about, whether you're someone who, gets in trouble off the tee or with your irons, how do you save yourself? And that to me is how I try to have fun with it.
Yeah. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. KU number one. Whoa. Hello. KU number one gives us $5.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Gary Wolf, I'd be a 36 handicap, but only because that's the highest they can give you. Okay. I think KU number one is having trouble trying to post his thoughts in Super Chat. Might be. On this show, you may recognize that there's only two ways that generally we're going to read your comments. You either become a member for $2.99 or $10 a month. $10 a month gets you into our members-only Instagram chat, as well as getting your comments read. But we get enough comments on this show where, generally speaking, we only read member comments. So you'll notice the designations in the chat, like Mike Smith, who's a member of the show. Mike. So hour number 2 of the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. Boys, we did it again last night. We're back on top in Prize Picks. Use the promo code Monty to get 100% deposit matching at prizepicks.com. Last night, I would like to thank Aaron Judge for saving this ass, because when I look at what I decided to do yesterday, I decided to play a mix on Prize Picks. So Prize Picks is very simply, they're going to give you a number. Aaron Judge yesterday, total bases was 2.5 on a demon. It's like, there's no way he's doing 2.5.
A demon.
A demon means it's more difficult and you make more, they pay out at a higher rate.
Right.
Aaron Judge was 2.5. My guy went 4 for 4 with 2 runs and a home run, which is 4 bases.
Yeah.
Crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. Aaron Judge then. Then my guy, Luka Doncic, you prick. I decided that Luka had to go all in last night. And he was at 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Thank you for putting up 31, 10, and 11, Luka Doncic. My guy came through.
Yeah, Luka.
Which I really appreciated. And then, I say, just because pimps are going to pimp, right? No? They're not? Okay.
No.
I would also tell you that I went with my guy, Max Strus, to make 2 3-pointers. He was 1.5 last night. He made 3.
Yeah.
Thank you, Max Strus.
Thank you.
Are the Cleveland Cavaliers done? After you download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code Monty, get 100% deposit matching at prizepicks.com. $5, they'll give you 10. $20 will make it 40.
Mm-hmm.
$100 will make it $200.
Mm-hmm.
The Cavaliers are out. And I thought it was very interesting that immediately Jake texted me, to blow it up.
Burn it to the ground, man.
Donnie sucks. Let's talk a little NBA hoop. Donovan Mitchell.
Donnie.
Can you count on Donovan Mitchell to be a franchise player? My belief right now is no, you cannot.
No.
And I say this because, again, and Utah Jazz fan, you are acutely aware of this. Hamstrings, quads. Now this year, a calf muscle that kept him out. Every year, Donovan Mitchell has lower leg or has leg soft tissue injuries that prevent him from competing. And my question is that mental? Is that exhaustion? My answer is, I don't care. You can't count on Donovan Mitchell to be there in the playoffs. And that, I think, is a harsh reality for a guy who wants to be paid like a franchise player. And I just don't think that these discussions about Donovan Mitchell, he's better than Devin Booker. He's not. He's not on that level. Donovan Mitchell is not a number one. And I think it's why he's a great fit with the New York Knicks. And if I were the Knicks, I'd be out all day trying to get Donovan Mitchell. Because if Donovan Mitchell was on that New York Knicks team, they're going to win the Eastern Conference Championship. But because they're not, they're going to have to close out the Pacers and now run into a rested Boston Celtics team. And my answer to you is, no, I would not trust Donovan Mitchell to be my franchise player because, again, this year, when he had a chance to prove all the haters wrong, Jake, he couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I think that's the hard part for Don is that, whether it's the injuries or lack of performance or whatever the case may be, he just hasn't gotten over the top. And, everyone wants to compare him to Devin Booker. Well, let's compare him, right? Devin Booker went through this same type of process where, he would have some injuries, some things would keep him out. Like he'd really struggle to stay healthy an entire year. But then he's kind of put that to bed and he's been a pretty durable player the last couple of seasons. And I think that that's what Don has to do now. Don has to get to a place where his body can handle 82 nights a year, plus another probably 20-ish games, 25 games or so. And he's not quite there yet, but he needs to do that. So maybe, Don, let's spend less time playing pickup basketball and more time in the gym strengthening your legs and strengthening your body, because that's what needs to take place. And I do think it would help, and I think this is what's helped Book as well, to play on a roster with other guys who can contribute at a high level. Because if Don's the guy that's taking the beating every night and constantly having to put up 30, 40 points, there's obviously going to be some attrition there with his body. He is a human being. So Don's got to get stronger, but Don needs to find a good roster. Don needs to get on a team like the Knicks or like the Heat, where there are other contributors who are capable of throwing up a 30, 40 point night. Because again, when you're playing in the NBA season, you're playing 4 nights a week, most weeks, you get a day off here, a day off there, but 4 or 5 nights a week, you're going to have nights where it's not your night and you only put up like 18 points, but that's okay because you've got Jalen Brunson putting up 40 on that night. That's what I'm talking about. So, to me, it makes a lot of sense that the Knicks would try to get him. Makes a lot of sense that the Heat would try to get him. There's this whole conspiracy that, LeBron went to that Cavs game and, that Donnie's going to be coveted by the Lakers. And I don't see that as much. I think there's a lot of options for the Lakers right now. And they're going to go out and try to get the best available. So to me, the Knicks and Donnie are a perfect match, but he has proving to do still. And it's really unfortunate because he is a really good player. He is a really good player, but he is not one of the best players in the league yet. He has to show durability, much the same way Anthony Davis did this year. Everyone said, oh, well, Ant is an injury liability, and he had been. But he played, I think it was 77 games this year, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, he played a ton of games. So he's shown the ability to stay healthy. So, yeah, I think Don's a hell of a player. But got to stay healthy, got to get on a better roster, and got to learn how to put up those huge nights when your team needs it. And I'm not saying that's game 1 of a series or game 7. I'm saying when your team needs you to drop a 40 piece, he comes through and he's that guy.
Do you trust him?
No, I don't trust him.
I don't trust him.
I don't know how you could.
I don't trust him. And I think what we're looking at is a situation with Donovan Mitchell where he cost himself a lot of money. I truly think you missing these last 2 games, this meltdown in the locker room in Cleveland, where Jared Allen's allegedly refusing to take a pain shot and We are hearing that Evan Mobley told the Cavs he didn't want to play there. Like all this BS followed Donovan Mitchell from Salt Lake City to Cleveland because the same thing happened in Salt Lake City. Is it his fault? No, it's not. Because it's not like Rudy Gobert's gone on to be some amazing player. And we're going to talk about the T-Wolves in a minute. But let's not sit here and pretend that Donovan Mitchell did what he was supposed to do in Cleveland, because he did not. And if he leaves Cleveland, and my guess is he will for New York or Miami, but if he leaves Cleveland, this was a massive loss for the Cavaliers because you gave up Lauri Markkanen, who's been nothing short of sensational. And I think this was a huge loss for the Cleveland Cavaliers should Donnie walk away.
Yeah.
So, I also think it's very interesting that here we sit with Minnesota on the verge of elimination with Denver.
Yeah.
And I think the Rudy Gobert question is a very interesting question for the T-Wolves. Are they better when Rudy Gobert is not on the floor?
I mean,
in situations, I think you have to make that argument.
Him guarding Jokic on the perimeter one-on-one, you're asking to lose. And all the Rudy defenders
on the perimeter, look what Jokic did to him on the block.
All the haters are going to say, "Oh, well, Jokic is the MVP and Rudy's doing the best that he can do." And that's great. That's fine. All that might be true. It doesn't change the fact that you're losing with him on the floor. And the two players that you can't say anything about are Ant and Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
Those two guys contribute every single night, and they are typically the reason you're winning the game. And the hard part that I have with Rudy is he is a hell of a rim protector. He is a presence.
Yes.
And that has major value in the playoffs. But teams from an offensive standpoint are too good. Now they understand, hey, like, we can create this matchup, but just getting the switch on Rudy is not just so we can play Rudy one-on-one against Jamal.
No,
It's about, hey, like, let's get Rudy in a tough spot so that the defense collapse so we can kick to Aaron Gordon in the corner and he's going to knock down, threes at a 45% clip in game 5, I believe that was. Like, you're seeing big time consequences because the Nuggets are executing at a high level. And furthermore, as much as I'm not a Rudy guy, the bigger thing that stands out for me is the lack of staying power for the T-Wolves. Like, I haven't come off my position on Anthony Edwards. Now, he does need to win, and that same bar will be held to him, Tatum, Don, Book. Like, these guys need to win. You're not him, and you need to stop comparing yourself to the best players there ever was until you start winning. But Anthony Edwards is a very good player and will be with them a long time.
Right, but very good players can't have very average nights in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, and that's what we're seeing. And when people talk about, hey, like how healthy is the league? Well, I don't know. When are these young guys going to start? And we should stop saying young guys.
Yes.
Like, Ant's 22, but he's not young anymore.
Yes.
Like, when are these guys, the younger cut of player, the Tatum, Ants, Dons, Books, those guys, when are they going to start winning and having those signature playoff performances? Because I swear to God, like, you look at Jason Tatum's career right now, and you compare that to Anthony Edwards' trajectory. Ant's on a very similar trajectory that Jason Tatum.
Who would you rather have?
I'd rather have Anthony Edwards right now. Honestly, I would.
Wow.
I think Anthony Edwards is more of a killer. I think that Anthony Edwards is more athletic than Jason Tatum.
Okay.
But the problem is, and again, I'm happy to admit this, right? I'm not shying away from it. Anthony Edwards needs to prove that he can beat a team like the Nuggets. And he's not going to do that alone. But my point is, the Wolves have fallen apart in this series. You went from dominating this team
100%.
and making them look silly to you guys just look lost on the floor now.
But I think to that point, did Denver wake up or did Minnesota go to sleep?
I think Minnesota went to sleep because I don't see Denver. Like, everyone's saying, oh, like the champs are back and Denver's doing all this great stuff.
Jamal Murray had his moment where he threw that heat pack on the floor. And there's a lot of people saying that kicked him in the ass because he's been a different player since that happened. There's no, his want to seems to have returned, which likely speaks all you need to know about Jamal Murray. But I think Denver has made it very difficult for Minnesota to get those big explosive plays. And by pulling Rudy Gobert away from the basket, you've opened up some driving lanes. There's no question about that. By putting him in pick and roll switches and by taking Jokic and putting him on the block and making Rudy really work, it's opened up the backside, because what you're seeing is the T-Wolves are sagging to help.
And who's feasting?
They're perimeter guys.
Aaron Gordon is feasting on this
that's true.
Strategy.
Absolutely.
And that's why I say, man, like, I give all the credit in the world to Aaron Gordon and that group of shooters, like Cantavius Caldwell-Pope, like Jamal, like they're knocking down shots. But what I'm telling you guys is it's not all just on, hey, the Nuggets woke up. There is probably a solid 50% of this series, at least, that is the Wolves got high early and you lost one game in game 3. And that loss has snowballed into, hey, you're down 3-2 in the series. And you're looking at losing, quite literally, looking at losing 4 in a row to be eliminated and sent home, which me is a cardinal sin.
Oh, boy. Big update out of North Carolina.
Oh, boy.
Big update. UNC, according to Brian Murphy, who, if you don't follow Brian Murphy, he is at WRAL in Raleigh. UNC Board of Trustees Chair Pryor clarifies comments made at Monday's meeting.
This should be juicy.
That the board would discuss athletic budgets in a closed session. The board did not speak with precision or clarity on the matter. So now what you're saying is that the board would discuss budgets in a closed session. He said the board did not speak with precision or clarity.
So we're walking it back.
We are walking it back. We are walking it back. Because...
So do you remember last hour when I said, hey, Board of Regents folks like to run their mouth and they undermine Bubba Cunningham's position? This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You talked a bunch of junk, if you will, and now you're walking it back because you realize, again, we haven't learned the lesson, apparently. We're not just going to be able to break this grant of rights, I guess, in a public setting. I guess that was your goal. Because, again, when they first made those comments, we were like, why now? That was my first question. Why now?
Why now?
What
and why did Bubba not make the comment?
Yeah, why now? And why was Bubba not the one talking? Because he really should be the guy. And now we're getting a walk back. And I'm telling you, it's the worst thing in sports, dude. We see it all the time.
I agree.
Like, oh, this. Oh, and then you realize, yeah, we probably shouldn't have done that. Let's try to mitigate.
This is gonna be ugly now. You're saying you didn't speak with precision. What are you saying?
I feel like they're saying that they were irresponsible with what they said. That's essentially what you mean. Hey, we didn't speak with precision is corporate officees for, we said some things that maybe aren't necessarily entirely true. And we're going to have these meetings behind closed doors.
It clarifies the comments made at Monday's meeting that the board would discuss athletic budgets in closed session. Said the board did not speak with precision or clarity. What you're saying is nobody was speaking for you and nothing's been decided. So
let me get this right. Again, another, storm of words that left you right in the same spot.
You're trying to take the edge off of the comments that have been made this week. You can't unwind the watch, dude. North Carolina is looking for a way out of the ACC.
So let me ask again, why would the ACC settle? For all of you, hey, they should settle people. Why would you settle?
You would never settle.
Like these guys, and I have a really hard time saying this, but and this does not apply to Bubba Cunningham or athletics leadership at UNC. But the Board of Regents, that was a really irresponsible, idiotic thing to do.
But isn't this why? And somebody, maybe it was Mike Smith. Sorry, Mike, if I blew your comment. Yeah, here it is right here. Bubba Cunningham slapped that guy's wrist. But isn't this why Bubba Cunningham went home? He wasn't at the ACC meetings yesterday. Isn't this why he went back to Chapel Hill? Because he had to get his house in order.
Yeah.
This stuff is so volatile.
Yep.
This stuff is so volatile.
And it's surprising. And again, we don't know the repercussions of those comments
It's
yet,
repercussions, please.
But it's surprising that they would be out of turn like that.
Very much so. Very much so. Jimmy Otson, hello. UNC has too many chefs in the kitchen. No, they have guys who want to be chefs and trying to get into the kitchen. Let Bubba Cunningham cook. See what I did there?
Yeah.
John Dry says, hi, Aaron. Hello. The ghost of Gumby, habitual wrist slapper.
That's what
Correct.
I'm saying.
Non-sports people should what? Slaps wrist, bad Tar Heels, bad. Non-sports people should keep their mouths shut. They probably should. Kay Nurin, hello. My wife has the same problem speaking before thinking. Whoa.
No comment.
Yeah, we probably leave that on the outside. All right, there you have it. Update there. Real quick on the Dallas Mavericks. How disappointing are the OKC Thunder?
Here, let me add another player into the list of, hey, you need to prove something. SGA. Bro, I love your game. Thought you should have been the MVP this year.
Putting up all those points.
That was embarrassing last night. And I'm just going to tell it for you. Like, he didn't play particularly bad. His team played bad, and that's on him. He's the leader of that team.
Yeah, you're going to make changes on that roster. I mean, Jalen Williams has to be better. Chet Holmgren has to be better. Under 15 is not a factor. Did you see they benched under 15?
Well, that's why he's under.
Josh Giddey did not start. I think he played 12 minutes, had 11 points or something like that. You got to make a change. Lugens Dort, great defensive player. Those guys don't win championships.
Yeah, they clearly need another scorer, and
absolutely.
And I think that I don't want to see, and we're going to see it, but I would prefer not to see Chet in all these summer runs this summer. I would prefer to see his ass in the weight room and getting stronger and like building his body.
I don't know that that's his game though. Chet's never going to be a back you down guy.
Well, I don't think he needs to be a back you down guy, but what he does need to be able to do is put a shoulder into someone and move him. And I don't see that enough out of Chet. What I see last night is soft Chet. Hey, he tried to take this three off the wing and it got blocked and led to an easy dunk for the Mavs. And I'm like, dude, you're taking that three because, and again, it's not that he's scared to go to the rack, but he's not entirely comfortable. Game. Yeah.
If you want Chet Holmgren to make changes, he needs to work on his handle and he needs to work on his finishing. And if he is going to go to the basket, which I think is almost mandatory, he needs to be able to finish at the rim. And I don't know that right now I shouldn't say this out loud. His finishing package isn't probably good enough. But Jalen Williams has faded in this series.
Yeah.
And you would like to see more out of him. Ryan Smith's receding hairline. We need Luka in Utah to build our all-white team. It could be. Ghost of Gumby says we show up. I've heard that. How about Jordan Spieth? 2 birdies and 3 holes. He's 2 under. Tied for the lead with Rory, Schauffele, Hovland, and Gim at Valhalla, the PGA Championship happening now.
Okay, I've got Tiger Woods.
LT Gray.
To be less than 72.5 strokes today. And par at Valhalla is 72. So all I need Tiger to do is finish at even. Finish at even, we're good, right? You start going over par, not so good. And I'm hoping, and I'm putting my faith in John Daly today. I need John Daly to have more than 77 strokes today, which means
Jake, get help. You are betting on John Daly.
Yeah, to lose. And what I need is John Daly to have one of those holes where he's trying to drive it over the water or do some nonsense because he's not worried about winning.
Opening up the Prize Picks app. I did not do golf today.
How did you not do golf today, bro? It's only the PGA Championship.
Scotty Scheffler, 68.5, more or less.
I've got Scotty at more than 69 right now.
Really?
That's the number I got him at.
Okay, Phil Mickelson, 73. John Rahm, 69. Wyndham Clark,
73
70.
for Phil?
Yeah, he's
Jesus.
old. He's washed. Minwoo Lee, birdies or better matchup. Just give me birdies or better. I don't want the matchup. John Rahm, 4 birdies or better. Phil Mickelson, 3 birdies or better.
By the way, John Daly's already 3 over. So I need John Daly to finish 8 over today.
I would like to throw something at you. Will Zalatoris, 4 birdies or better.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go Scotty Scheffler, 4.5 birdies more. I think I am going to go Taylor Gooch. No. Jason Day, 3.5 birdies. I'm going to go more.
Yeah. He's been playing well.
And Jake Knapp, 3.5 birdies more.
Yeah.
There you go. Those are my 3 picks. I'm going to go $25 flex play.
$25.
Pimp going pimp.
$25.
Pimp. There you go.
Good job.
Pimp.
Good job.
I like saying it that way. Brooks Koepka, 1 under through 3, just birdied the 12th.
Roar, dude, this leaderboard's looking nice right now.
I want Jordan Spieth to win.
I want my champion.
I really want Jordan Spieth to win.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Did Daly ever get his life in order, or does he still look like a walking dumpster fire? His life is in order. He drinks and smokes, and he plays golf.
Yeah.
If I could, I would do everything but drink and smoke. If I could just play golf all day, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I want John Daly's life outside of the weight gain, the smoking, and the drinking.
Yeah.
You know. Kaner and wake up, hit the like button. Please do. Yes. Minnesota, 7 games or 6?
6. They will.
You think they're done?
Yeah, they're done. In my opinion, they're done. Unless, the only thing that I could see that would change is just like a baller 45 and 11 assist game out of Ant.
Okay.
Like that's the only thing that I think could happen. But to your point, they've been rolling out the, hey, stop everybody else, let Ant score defense. And that's really been working for them. So, it'll be interesting. But my opinion is they'll get eliminated in game 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what about, so you think, God damn, Minnesota's 2.5 points tonight. Well, it is at home. So they're favoring Denver in that game.
Yeah.
And the number's only 204.5.
Yeah, they're saying that the Nuggets are going to win that game with defense, which I don't disagree with. Okay.
I think the game's tomorrow night. Knicks, Pacers.
That's a 7-gamer in my opinion.
In Indy. So you think that Indiana has one more left in them?
Yes, I do. Yep. Because I think the Knicks are not in a place right now where they can beat Indiana on the road regularly in this series. And I think that that's kind of why we're going to get 7. I think it's the NBA. And again, I know tinfoil hat guy, right? I think the NBA wants 7 games out of this one.
We're looking at Sunday potentially being a pair of game 7s with Knicks, Pacers, and T-Wolves Nuggets.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. We're getting Knicks, Pacers alone game 7 Sunday, and I think the Nuggies close.
That's going to do numbers if we get that.
I would agree with that. All right, real quick, couple other non-sports stories.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the grocery prices fell for the first time in a year? Are we in a recession? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you think so?
Yes.
Okay. I think we are in a real estate recession.
I think that now again, I'm not a genius when it comes to economics. So if recession,
you could have just stopped it. I'm not a genius.
Well, that's a good point too. But yeah, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that money is not flowing through our economy at the same rate it was 5 years ago. And that alone is why I say we're in a bit of a recession, because people just aren't spending money the way they used to, mainly because things are way too expensive. And, I'm not really here for, oh, well, it's Donnie or it's Biden and inflation. I think there are so many factors, the main one being greed in economics, that no one human being is going to solve that. And I don't care how many executive orders you want them to issue. There's no fixing pharma greed, oil greed, there's no fixing that. And
pharma's an issue.
Yeah.
Pharma and gas prices are.
Yeah. And so that's
there's
why
no
I say,
fixing that. I agree.
It used to be a thing where, hey, we're coming into the summer window. Gas is going to be $2.50 a gallon, but then we're going to go back down in the winter. We'll be like $1.80, $1.90.
I'm really interested to see what happens in real estate, because now the market has kind of flipped on its head. Not kind of, it has flipped on its head, where it is in just about every top 50 major metro market in the U.S., it's cheaper to rent than to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And you are actually, if you're considering renting and considering buying, you are now being pushed into renting because it doesn't make financial sense to buy right now.
Yeah.
Which is wild. So I think it's funny to me that all of the real estate, watchers, Inman, for instance, is saying that now we're in a real estate bubble. And it's like, hey, fuckstick, we've been in a real estate bubble for 4 years. Like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
We have been in a real estate bubble for going on 4 years, since 2020. And I think when you look at how inflated prices are, and the fact that we are now back to carnival tricks for people to be able to afford houses, which means adjustable rate mortgages.
Dude, when we were talking about this last weekend, when you said, hey, like, that's what people are doing now, I was like, dude, that is gasoline on a fire, bro.
You're having people who are agreeing to, hey, for the first 3 years of my mortgage, it's a 6% rate. Starting day one of the fourth year, it goes up to 10%. You're having people who are buying down their rate. They're getting an incentive from a builder. So I own a home. I want to buy a new build. So I sell my home. I have to give $25,000 to the person buying my home so that they can buy down their interest rate on the new mortgage to buy my house.
Mm-hmm.
But the new builder is going to turn around and give me $30,000 to buy down my mortgage rate. That the new builder has a mortgage company, they're doing their own inspections, and they are doing their own appraisal. That's the carnival tricks that we're playing right now. And can I tell you, if you allow your builder to be your escrow, your loan company, your inspection company, and your appraisal company, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
You are out of your mind. And I don't, when does the bubble burst? I don't know. But we literally right now in this country have the mortgage industry going out of business.
Mm-hmm.
We in this country right now literally have the real estate business. You have realtors and brokerages going out of business because houses are not selling. It's not even that we don't have listings. We don't have people buying.
Yes.
Because you dirty millennials are not having kids, and you're not buying picket fences and 2.5 Dalmatians, because the price of real estate is so out of whack. And I continue to preach this point, and I'll say it every time we talk real estate. We don't need more high density housing. We don't need more $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 houses. We need single family $300,000 to $500,000 homes.
Yeah.
That's what we need. People want to tell you, well, Monty, we have a housing shortage in this country, sir. No, we don't. We have a shortage of affordable housing. I live in a community where there are $1 million mansions all around me that sit on the market for 5, 6, 700 days because the owner is so far underwater. We don't need more $1 million homes. We need, and if we're going to continue, like I live in Utah, for those of you who don't know, we've destroyed our water table here because we've taken up every inch of available land with these $800,000-$900,000 houses. I don't need tall and skinny townhouses in Sandy, Utah.
Yeah.
I need $350,000 to $500,000 single family homes where parents can raise their kids. That's what we need. I don't need more 300 unit apartment complexes because those are everywhere now. You want to rent an apartment? They're readily available.
Yep.
But what we have is a bubble because everything is so overpriced. So we are going to go back and we are going to relive 2008. We're going to go back and we're going to live the early 2000s and late 90s where people were being foreclosed on regularly.
Yeah, because foreclosure conditions are coming.
Yes.
They're coming.
Yes.
Anytime you put someone in an arm, they're not going to be able to afford that house.
And then you pour grocery costs on top of that. And then you pour fuel cost on top of that. And then you pour credit card debt on top of that. And then you pour student loan debt on top of that. And we just keep adding to that. Who right now, who's excited to buy a new car? Because cars are out of your price range. Consumers can't go out and get affordable money to refinance debt.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're paying for your overpriced groceries on your 21% credit card. Why are credit scores now projected to, in the next 18 months, right? Which, do the math on that. That is 6 quarters, 18 months. In the next 6 quarters, we are projected to have the lowest average credit score ever in the history of our country.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many people, if the trends continue, credit card debt is creeping back up. It's why this inflation number yesterday was so critically important. Even though it was just a tenth below, it was 0.3 for April. It's so critically important that we drive inflation down because we need the cost of money to come down so that more people can afford to buy cars and houses without racking up debt.
Yep.
That's where we are.
Yep.
And it sucks.
Yep.
But that's where we are.
And don't blame it on millennials because it ain't on millennials.
I would agree with that. I think we have created an atmosphere. I think millennials have had more challenges, whether it's pandemics, housing bubbles, job crises, all of this stuff. Per the OC Register, $349,900 yearly income to buy a house in Orange County on average. Oh yeah, Mrs. Monty.
Like what you just said, $349,000
is the income that you need to have. That's gross. Your gross income has to be $349,900 to qualify at the median rate for a home in Orange County.
I mean, what are we doing, bro?
But Mrs. Monty was offered a really good job in entertainment. And we turned it down because it was Los Angeles and our quality of life is more important. And she'd have got a bump, but we're in an odd climate. The Buffalo Hunter. Should a three bed, 2-bath in Utah cost over $500K? No, it should not. You're exactly right.
Yet it does.
It's an addiction. We are masochists. I think it is. Stepanek, 8% to buy a house. It's wild. 300 to $500K is affordable. And now in today's universe, it is.
Yeah. I mean, I would say by today's economics, 500 is probably pushing the affordable.
500 level, is the top of the, is that 300. It really is 350 to 500 is the affordable range now.
Yeah.
If you're making the, and it's all formulaic. Obviously your debt to income ratio is a huge quotient, part of this quotient. But if you are making average money, if you are making, and now I think it goes without saying, you have to have a 2-income home. And you have to have your debt to income ratios in alignment.
Yeah.
If you are, and they are, you can afford 350 to 500,000.
But I truly believe like the messaging to the masses should stop being, hey, you got to buy a house. The messaging should be, hey, you need to do the best you can to get back into the fundamentals of just good, like money handling, right? Like, getting your debt back down, like, really being conservative so you can pay your debt down, like not looking at buying the new car right now, not looking at like buying the new house. Like, I'm telling you, man, like if you're someone that makes 6 figures a year, but you're carrying debt, like you have to find a way to get that debt. Like you got to wrestle that debt back down. And that's what I think, we as a country are not putting enough emphasis on. Like I truly believe that there are a lot of people in this country that don't understand both the power and the risk of credit cards. Because I'm a big believer, like credit cards are very valuable. They can do a lot for you, but at the same time, they, obviously they can bite you. And that's the hard part is like, when you go through a pandemic and you're not making money, what choice do you have? Because the bills are still there.
We need, and I hate to say it, but we've been here before. And I don't think we need a housing collapse. You don't need. There needs to be a very severe correction in the housing market. And the only way that happens is if we have more reform in real estate, because, and I don't know how to fix that, but if we continue to be at this point where real estate doesn't move and churn, the economy is going to stay right where it is. And the scary part of this is nobody has the answer for it. Nobody has the answer for it. Because if you lower interest rates and people start spending a ton more money, what happens to pricing? Pricing continues to go up. Goods and services will get more expensive because people have more money and people are spending more money. So retailers and purveyors are going to charge more. But if we keep interest rates higher and people don't have as much money and don't have access to more money, so they're not spending money, what happens? Stagnation and inflation. And well, now I'm selling less, so I've got to get more. So let me get this right. We lower interest rates, people spend more, prices go up. We don't lower interest rates, people spend less, and prices stay up. Greed is what we have to fix.
Yes.
We have to stop with healthcare and pharma being greedy and profit taking. We have to stop with $1,000 per pill medication. And you remember the insulin costs, and we have to stop with that. We have to stop with this idea that oil companies, hey, somebody farted, so the cost per barrel went up $1.
Mm-hmm.
We got to stop that. But nobody wants to do that. It's the problem that has no solution, even though we know what the solution is.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was very interesting that we're sitting here and we're looking at the grocery prices falling. And yet we're still in this position where the Fed's not going to lower rates this year. There's not going to be a rate cut this year.
No.
That though there was supposedly going to be 4.
They can't.
Yeah, those times are over.
Yeah, they can't, dude. And that's really sad.
And it's probably because everybody's shopping at Amazon and abandoning Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
To which I say hallelujah. I am not a Walmart guy. I do not shop with the great unwashed.
Mm-hmm.
I kid. No, I'm not kidding. I don't shop at Walmart ever for anything, ever. Even if there's a fire.
Yeah.
When we were side hustling Amazon FBA and we would go and we would do, I hated going to Walmart. I hated going to Target. I am the guy, and I want your thoughts in the comment section on this. I am the guy who hates big box stores. You will never, ever see me in a Best Buy again, ever. Because I can go to Apple directly. And it's really interesting. Mrs. Monty pointed out a couple of weeks ago. Guess who is starting their own pharmacy or started their own pharmacy?
Mm-hmm.
Amazon. Guess who's starting more affordable grocery delivery? Amazon. Guess who now is going to pass Walmart is the largest retail revenue generator in our country? That'd be Amazon. So let me get this right. There's Amazon Prime, Amazon Prime Video, Amazon Web Services, Amazon the store for everything. Where do I buy my golf balls? Amazon. Where do I buy tees for golf? Amazon. Where do I buy my oats? Amazon. Now, do I shop at Costco and do I shop at Harmon's? I do. But the majority of things that I buy come from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild to me. Would you rather shop at Amazon or Walmart?
Well, I mean, Amazon, of course. I mean, there's a convenience factor that Walmart can't compete with. And yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily love the experience at Walmart. That said, I think Walmart has done and still is doing a phenomenal job. It's what I've said though. Like I think that Amazon, just the way they've built their process, it's really, really difficult for a big box to compete with them. To which I say, maybe it's not about competing with Amazon. Maybe it's more about, hey, like, we can give you an experience that Amazon can't give you, right? We can give you the in-store experience, and maybe Walmart's biggest challenge right now is making that experience better. If you remember last week, we talked about the fact that Walmart and Target and several of the big box players were looking at, cutting back self-checkout usage, if not removing it from their store completely.
Yes.
And I think that part of that was not discussed was the experience of the cashier, the experience the cashier can give the consumer that you will not get at Amazon, because obviously Amazon is an all digital product, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I think it's incredibly convenient and useful. But if I'm Walmart or these big box players, I'm saying, hey, like, I don't want to try to beat Amazon at their own game, right? Because they've got that thing on lock. Like, they've cut that niche. They are the player. They are the dominant force in that space. Yeah. But if I'm Walmart, I'm saying, hey, like, maybe we need to look at our business and think about how can we make the in-store experience better.
And what is Walmart doing? Closing stores. Walmart is closing stores.
Mm-hmm.
What else is Walmart doing? Limiting self-checkout now.
Mm-hmm.
Because self-checkout leads to higher costs because of theft.
Mm-hmm.
What does Amazon not have to deal with? Stores. Because largely they have limited their exposure with Whole Foods.
Mm-hmm.
They closed all I think they closed most of their fast Amazon stores where you could get the most popular Amazon brand products. They've closed a large number of those. Amazon is about bringing it to your front door. And I think the biggest issue is, like, if you look at the comment section, Gumby says wall bogs all day. Fat Jesus loves him some Walmart. Cam Harrison, Amazon Music.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Smith, Walmart people make me feel better about myself. Okay.
See, and I think that's Walmart's biggest struggle, dude. They have a reputation.
Yep. I feel good looking when I go to Walmart.
Right. So, like, what would Walmart be as a player in the space if their reputation was Target's reputation?
What would Walmart be if butt cracks weren't as prevalent as Doritos in their stores?
And that's what I mean. And I feel bad hating on people, or like saying, hey, like, the people that shop at Walmart are just, they're a little bit lower cut of person.
But can we stop comparing Walmart and Target, please?
Yeah, I just don't think it's a fair comparison.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Maybe the cut of human being.
Not a fair comparison.
Maybe
dude.
the cut of human being is a little better at Target. They're the same thing. They're the same thing.
They're not, dude. The product you can get at Target is nicer.
And you're a Target guy.
The presentation at Target is nicer. You're not getting, like, again, this doesn't really apply to me, but the things that stand out between Target and Walmart, you're not getting like a whole lit up, like, different flooring spaced thing for the makeup section at Walmart. You're just going to have another aisle. Like, Target does a good job of making sure when you walk through their store that you feel warm and fuzzy and good. And that's why they do really well. Target is a place like here in South Jordan. The Target at the district is where all the kids go on Friday night. And why is that? Because kids love to go to Target and just walk around. That's what they've done because it's a safe feeling store. It feels good. Walmart does not feel that way. Walmart feels.
But Walmart used to feel that way.
Well, not to Gen Z. It didn't used to feel that way because they don't know anything about the 90s.
Absolutely. When I was a young buck, Walmart, man, there was nothing better than going to Walmart, having some lunch at McDonald's, and then doing all your shopping. And those days are over.
Yeah.
Those days are over. Brandon Butler, United States of Amazon. Welcome to the U.S. Brought to you by Prime, and I don't mean Dion. I like Amazon, though.
Yeah,
Amazon makes my life better.
It's not really even an Amazon discussion per se, other than Amazon is just dominating big box stores. But I'm telling you, they're dominating big box stores because big box stores have not found an offering that brings the masses through them at the same rate that the masses use Amazon.
Now, the only one that I think competes with Amazon for me is Costco. I do buy golf balls from Costco. The yellow golf ball that I can get online, I'm telling you, if you play golf and you are not hitting the Kirkland yellow golf ball, you're crazy.
Why do you like Costco, though, versus Walmart?
Because it's easy and I can get everything that I need.
And it excludes all the people who would shop at Walmart because you have to pay a subscription on the annual to shop there.
Yeah.
It's the reality.
I don't
of
disagree
it.
with that.
You're not getting.
Look, I just bought patio furniture from Costco.
Right. And so my point is
blueberries.
The people that shop at Walmart are in a different place in life. And I'm trying to be respectful of that. I'm not judging.
So you're saying it's poor people?
Well, not poor people per se. It's either, someone who isn't financially as well off or someone who is like a thrifter or saver, right? Someone who maybe has money, but just chooses to use that money in a very different way. And
Jesus. Target versus Walmart is Hep A versus Hep C. Yes. Let's go. So, you didn't think that was funny. That was a joke. Ed Enriquez, Target over Walmart, but will probably begin to use Amazon when I move back stateside. I think you will. Sir Bob Lob, Target spends billions trying to enter the Canadian market. A few years later, they were all gone. The Ghost of Gumby, people should be proud to see my butt crack peek out from the SpongeBob jammies.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Don't go to the store with jammies. Oh, wait, it's Walmart. It's not the same thing. Draper moms love that Target vibe. Teddy Wayman laying tile every Friday night.
Yes.
Baston Mapes. Walmart closes stores that run in high theft areas and aren't worth keeping in areas that refuse to prosecute theft. Reap what you sow. Some of that is true. I would agree with that. Dakota Tubbs. Hey, people. Chose how they dress. Ain't got to go show butt crack at Walmart if you take pride in yourself. Not wrong. UW fan Jim. I might go to Walmart if they didn't pay their employees in food stamps. You're not wrong. I remember, Cam says, when Walmart was open 24/7 and going to Walmart at 3 a.m. buying CDs and DVDs. I remember that as a kid. I do. Costco Glizzy's, Gumby says. Nothing better than a Costco. It's been too long since I had a Costco.
Mm-hmm.
And Donuts, Walmart, you have to dodge parking lot campers to park. You do. Sir Bob Lob, blueberries are underrated. Dude, I eat a handful of blueberries multiple times a day. Put them in my oats. Love it. The Ghost of Gumby, laying tile. Hey now.
Stay hard.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So are we settled then? You are a Walmart person. I am an Amazon person.
Right. Yeah, that's what we settled on.
But do you like going to Walmart?
Not really. No, I don't.
Do you like going to Target?
Only on Sundays, to be honest with you.
Does your significantly other person like
yes.
going to Target?
Yes.
She does.
All the time. It's a huge thing for her.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah. Target's her spot. Yep.
God, that sucks for you. How often does she drag your ass to Target?
Probably once a week.
All right, honey.
Depends on the mood I'm in. If I'm in, if
but this is my point. Who's ever in the fucking mood to go to Target or Walmart? I'm not.
Well, sometimes, like for me, like when I say it depends on the mood I'm in. If I'm in the mood to walk around, if I'm like, yeah, I've been kind of sitting around today. Sure, I'll go walk around Costco. I'll go walk around Target.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, cool. Like I'm good. But if I've had a crap day at work and I'm not in the mood for anything, I'm probably not going to be thrilled to go to Target.
My wife, I think, would like to go to Target. I think she would. I'm not a Target guy. And I feel bad about it because I'm not a very good husband sometimes. Like, I think she would love to go walk around Target. And I think she knows that I hate walking around big box stores. I just don't like it. I don't have I'd rather go walk around Home Depot.
Mm.
Right? I'd rather go walk around Costco.
See, like Home Depot's a good example. I hate going to Home Depot. Hate it. Unless it's hey, we're going to look for something specific. Like
Right.
if I'm walking into Home
I need
Depot,
light bulbs.
If I'm walking into Home Depot and I'm like, yeah, like let's look at like a smoker, pressure washer, or like we have a thing that we need that a Lowe's or a Home Depot would have, then yeah, I mean that's cool. But I don't know. Like I said, I have to be in the mood for it.
Jesus, Dustin Johnson is on a hill next to a tree at Valhalla. I'm telling you that the live guys, Justin Schauffele. Xander Schauffele just took the solo lead at the PGA Championship, -4 through 7. Spieth, Hovland, and Gim at 3 under are in second. Some other notables: Rory McIlroy 2 under, Tony Finau 2 under, your boy Deck 2 under, Kurt Kitayama 2 under. So Tiger, I think, is still even. There you have it. Rip Kmart. Do you guys remember Venture? When we had Kmart, I preferred going there.
Kmart was my thing as a kid.
I remember when Mrs. Monty and I got our first apartment together in good old Burbank, California, we did a layaway at Kmart, and somehow, some way, they just didn't charge us for anything, and we got like most of our layaway for free. And it was like vacuums, Tupperware, condoms, like everything you need when you move in together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. Brady Cook, Walmart is just not clean. I would agree with that.
It does feel dirty. I agree.
I would agree with that. 100%. Are we doing a show tomorrow?
We never decided.
So Lazy Ass doesn't want to do a show tomorrow. Neither does Jake. Are we working on a Friday?
Probably not. Probably not.
All right, maybe we'll be, or maybe we won't.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a definitive answer yet. I'll have to see what kind of mood I'm in.
You're a terrible person.
I know.
You are a terrible giggity. As a little kid, I got busted stealing water balloons from Kmart.
Join the members only group chat. You'll find out if we have a show tomorrow or not.
There you go. And donuts. Have you ever shoplifted?
No.
I used to steal wiffle balls as a kid from a dime store. I did because my mom, she is what she is. My mom would not buy me things on the regular. So never would she buy me Jordans. But she bought me, one of the life-changing things she did buy me was one of those yellow wiffle ball bats with the wiffle ball on top of it. But of course, me being me, it was in the neighbor's gutter in like 15 minutes. So I used to say, "Hey, man, can I have $1?"
Hey, Monty.
And she would essentially say, "No, fat ass, go get your own $1." So I would buy a pack of baseball cards and walk out with a wiffle ball, right? Like, I think as kids, we all did that, right? And Donut says, take the day off. Macy and J.C. Penney's are overrated. Macy's used to be the stuff.
Yeah.
Used to be the stuff.
Yeah.
And donuts, people who go to Costco for the snacks, the samples, we don't really eat samples there anymore. They don't do a whole lot of
the sampling game at Costco's gone down.
OG Gary, see you Monday. Okay.
Say less, OG.
Say less, my brother. John Dry. I'm off Friday as well. Boston Mapes. Shields is my candy land to walk around in.
Okay, I go to Shields once in a while, and I will say this about Shields. Going to Shields on a Saturday is suicide.
Hell.
But
anything in Salt Lake City on a Saturday at like 2:00, death.
Yeah, you're done. It's over.
Sunday morning at like 11,
you're done.
Ghost town. Shields is cool.
Yeah.
I love walking around, like looking at their hunting stuff.
Yeah.
But dude, if I'm going to go to a sports store, I'm going to the PGA Superstore. It's who I am. Loner Phone is going to have a meltdown if y'all don't do a show tomorrow. Loner Phone hasn't been here today. Loner Phone kind of got his feelings hurt.
Yeah.
He DM'd Jake the other day and threatened to sue him.
Yeah.
Because Loner Phone took himself out of the group chat. He
Yeah.
got frustrated one day
And he literally left the chat.
DM's Jake, hey, bro, can you put me back in the group chat? Nope. You withdraw yourself. You don't get back in.
Yeah. Sorry, dude.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. UW fan Jim says we still have one thriving mall here. Malls here do okay.
Unless you put hockey rinks inside them.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that too on the show. The Monty Show, as always, presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. Don't forget tomorrow, if you're one of our great Utahns, drop off your used bike, your beat-up bike, your brand-new bike, your bike parts. You got extra bike wheels sitting around, drop them off at The Advocates office in Murray. They are doing their bike event tomorrow is their final day. Drop it off in Murray. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. So did we decide if we're working tomorrow or not?
No, we're not working tomorrow, bro.
Okay, see you tomorrow on the Monty Show. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.